my fellow comic book collectors, it's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is part 3 of this current unboxing. It's going to be 10 parts. It's going to be pretty cool. We're going to get into this big collection of books. Should be a fun one. Let's see what's inside. I guess that's the easiest way. So the first thing is actually a pretty cool thing. So Ricky from All Sorts of Words got me going down this crazy rabbit hole. I have to say, it's like he came onto my channel, and we were hanging out, and he was talking about Addams Family and where they actually made their first appearance. And everyone knows the Gold Key one, the first, gold key where it's the Addams Family #1. And that book is actually a major key for the comic book appearance of Wednesday and Pugsley and all the Addams characters. However, it isn't their first appearance. Their first appearance printed appeared in the New Yorker. That's where they really made their first appearance. However, in the New Yorker, they never used their names. It was only in that Gold Key book that they actually started using their character names, like Wednesday and all those names. Before that, they didn't use their names. so it was the most weird thing. Like, he would just have these characters, and you wouldn't know is it Wednesday or is it, but they would kind of look the same. He was consistent about the way he drew them. So they looked like the character, and they acted like the character. So over time, you would say, okay, well, this is Wednesday. So you would kind of go back and look through and figure out which book was the first appearance of Wednesday. And I, went down that rabbit hole with with All Sorts of Words, Ricky. And we figured out that this book is the first appearance of Wednesday. Actually, he figured them all out. He was really good at doing the sleuthing. So this is the New Yorker from 1944, August 26th. And you got to remember that it's with the New Yorker, you have to be really careful about getting that date because these are weekly magazines. And this one's an interesting one. It's I think it's called When the Children Come Home or something like that. And it shows the children coming home, and the parents are like, they're hiding the wine, and they were having a good time while the kids were away. So they're just hiding all that evidence that they were having a little bit of fun. So I'm going to show you the inside. See if I can open it up. Remove the tape. It's going to be a little awkward. Okay, let me just take this out. And hopefully I can show you the first appearance. Now these are hard to find, actually. One thing that was interesting about the New Yorker was a lot of people, and they were actually designed for this. You'll notice how it has this big border between the binding and the thing. It has like well, what people would do is they would cut right along that edge. And they would use these as pictures. They would actually, take the cover off and use them as pictures and hang them up. And it was very common to do that because these were very beautiful covers that they did for these magazines. So it's really hard to find a copy of this book that is actually the book itself. They would throw away the book and keep the covers. That's true cover buy. But this one is a complete book copy. I'm going to find the page with the first Wednesday on it. Oh yes, here it is. And this is the first appearance of Wednesday Addams. You see, looks like Pugsley in the background there too. And then we have Morticia and Wednesday. And what does it say? Let me read the caption for you. Well, don't come whining to me. Go tell him you'll poison him right back. that's the kind of humor it was. You know, this really dark humor. So go tell him you'll poison him right back. That's what I would tell my kids too. So yeah, so just a really crazy dark humor, and it was very popular. Like Chaz Addams was just really popular, and the characters, as I said, didn't get named, so they named the characters after him, and they would say, you know, is this Chaz's or the like Chaz Addams is producing all these weird characters, so they called them the Addams Family. These family of characters, well, the Addams Family. So after him. So I think that's a little bit more of the origin of their name. Okay, another rabbit hole that I was going down, and if you watch the previous video, you can see a little bit of that rabbit hole. I was searching for Betty Boop stuff, and I found this book. One sec here, if I can get it out. It's a little bit. They wrapped it in plastic. This is from my comic shop. Ding. So, okay. Let me just pull it out here. Okay. So I'm going to just put that down on the floor. So this is the first one, Betty Boop. And this is Betty Boop Funnies. And I forgot when this is from. But it's from, actually, wait. It says on the back, 1978. Now, this is not comic book size, but it's the next closest thing to comic book size. If you watch the previous video, I actually show Betty Boop's first comic book appearance. There's like different stages. They had a book that was kind of comic-y, then they had this, and then they had a smaller 3D comic from 1986, which was her first appearance. I showed it in the previous video, so watch it. Watch that video. But this is the next thing. It was magazine format at this point. So this is Betty Boop number 1. So it's Betty Boop Funnies. And I really like Betty Boop. She's such a cute character. Now another book that also has Betty Boop, a little bit earlier, but it does have Betty Boop, is this one. Women in the Comics, and it just has all the female characters, and it's like Lucy and Wonder Woman and Daisy May, Little Lulu, Olive Oil, whole bunch of characters, and then you get all their stuff on the back. So this is another book that I picked up. I like my women. So these are the women in comics. That would be a really cool book. And it also has an appearance of Betty Boop in it as well. So just a cool one. And as I said, I was going down this rabbit hole of collecting Betty Boop stuff. Yeah. It's just like, man, you go down these rabbit holes and you're trying to get all these different books and trying to find that first appearance. It was just really awkward. Okay. One sec here. I'm trying to open up this one. Oh, goodness. Okay, so this one I'm just going to rip. I have to rip the bag. The bag is just too taped. So it's just... they overly taped the bag. So let me pull the books out. And all of these actually go for fairly affordable. If you're, wondering about the prices, they're really inexpensive. So we're now going to do some more Betty Boop. As I said, I was going down a rabbit hole. So these are all Betty Boop books. They are all like in the $2 range. So very inexpensive. So this is Betty Boop number 3. And it's just a really cool Betty Boop. These were from Dynamite. Produced a series of Betty Boop. And these are from like 2016. So just really cool covers. So there's that one. And I basically picked up all the different covers that were available on my comic shop. Okay, so we got number 1. This is the sketch variant. So if you ever want to learn how to draw her, this is actually pretty useful. That's pretty cool. And then we have Betty Boop number 2. Thought this was a cute cover. I really like Betty Boop. She's so cute. And then we have, okay, I'll show that in a second. Then we have another number 1. This is another variant cover for number 1, the C variant. Very cool. Who did the cover? Cannot read that. Okay, we'll pretend. So Betty Boop. And this is a really nice cover. This is kind of like a homage to the one with Harley Quinn and the Joker. So yeah, so this is a really cool homage to that. Number 1. And then this is a really cute one. Betty Boop number 4. Looks sort of like she's doing Diamonds or a Girl's Best Friend kind of style. And then we got number 4 again, where she's going to hell. Another homage cover. Not homage, but another variant cover. Just a really cool variant. Now, I was actually trying to find a comic book appearance of Betty Boop. That was before that 1986 3D comic. And there was one that I looked up, and they mentioned that there is Betty Boop inside. And I'm going to see if it actually is maybe an earlier appearance of Betty Boop. And it's this one. It's Neil the Horse, number 5. You're probably, what does this do with Betty Boop? Well, we're going to see. We're going to see if it has, it's supposed to have Betty Boop inside, kind of. And I'll explain that once I open it up. I'm going to take off the tape. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take it out. Hopefully I can get it out without mangling it. Okay. So this is Neil the Horse, number 5. And at the very back, oh my goodness. This is, you can see why this is not really a Betty Boop. But it does mention Betty Boop. So you got her costume. So it has these paper dolls in the back. And the middle one is Betty Boop's. And it even says Betty Boop. Paper doll. And you can put these on like some figurine. Okay, like I guess you'd put it on this cat girl. Or, okay. So you'd cut them out and then you could make her look like Betty Boop. So that was it. That's Betty Boop's prototype, or I'm not even sure what this would be considered, but it is a Betty Boop early appearance without her, but her clothing, I don't know, but her name, it mentions her name, appearance in comics. So that's a really odd one. Again, these are $2 books. It's a cheap spec. cheap spec. It's not even a spec. I don't know what it is. It's probably always gonna be $2, but I just thought it was an interesting book to get. Okay, so that's Betty Boop. Actually, I have to grab 2 more books that I moved over because I was going to show them. Now I'm going to show you these 2 books as well. So these are bonus. So we're going to open these up. Okay, so I picked up 2 other books, and these are actually early appearances of Betty Boop. Not in comics, but in... wow, this one was... it's wrapped in a Ziploc bag. Very interesting. I get comics in the weirdest ways. Okay, so this one is the second appearance of Betty Boop printed, or actually maybe third, because there is a Tequila Bible that has the second appearance of Betty Boop in printed format. But this is her I bought this for $5. This just shows you how cheap these are. This is one of those little big books. Does it say that? Big little books. I always mess that up. I say it backwards. Big little books. And it's just like a little storybook. It's like $5. This is Betty Boop in Gulliver's Travels. Miss Gulliver's Travels, I should say. Miss Gulliver's Travels. And it's just a cute one. You got her in bondage in the back. And the old little puddings tying her down. And it just shows, you know, her visiting all the, you know, all the little all the adventures that she, like Gulliver's Travels. They really like to feature the little pins because they're cute. So just a cool Betty Boop book. This is her second official appearance in comics. It's a little bit dirty because I just smeared my hand. Okay, that's very interesting. So this one needs a bit of cleaning. I'm gonna put it in a better bag and board. Okay, so the next one more Betty Boop. That one was a little bit rough. I knew it was going to be rough because it was only $5. Didn't have really high expectations of grade. But this next one, another Ziploc bag. Jeez, what's with the Ziploc bags? Okay, just the weirdest way to store comics. Okay, this next one is her first appearance. And it's in really rough shape. I didn't realize how rough it was. It looked better in the picture. Okay. This is Betty Boop, Snow White, assisted by Bimbo and Coco. So yeah, so Betty Boop. Okay. I always get the names mixed up. It's Bimbo the clown, maybe, and Coco the cat, or it's the other way around. I'm not sure. Let's see. It might say in the book, so I can look inside. Oh, Bimbo is the cat. That's her cat. And Coco is the clown. So just a really cool book. First appearance of Betty Boop in printed format. This one. This one is really rough. I'm gonna have to bag and board it again. The cover's barely hanging on, barely. It's really, really rough. I didn't realize. It looks better. It looked better in the picture. Like it looked like, you know, looked like a nice solid copy, but it is really rough. This is from 1934, I believe, or 24, somewhere around there. Let's see if I can look at the indicia. $1934. It's a very old book. It's in a little bit rough shape. I didn't realize it was in rough shape. A little bit disappointed by that, but not expensive, even though it's her first appearance. Very cool book, though. Okay, so those are the Betty Boops. I hope you enjoyed those. I have a few more to show. Put those over there. Okay, so these are just some random things. I went down a couple other rabbit holes. We got CSI. This was mentioned on Comic Tom or one of those ones. I watched CSI. There was like a million different CSIs, it seemed. But this was a very popular show. And this is the first appearance of CSI in comics. There's actually a variant. There's different variants. This is the photo variant. I wanted the photo variant because it shows the cast. And this is the A cover as well. But this is the first appearance of CSI. And again, it's a cheap book. This is like a $5 book. Not expensive. So you can get the first appearance of them from 2003. Wow. And I'm trying to remember. I can't remember who, the hero who hated legend. I'm trying to remember whose first appearance this is. This is, I forget the name of the character. I'm trying to remember his name. Okay. But some character made their first appearance in this book. And this is what happens. I go down these rabbit holes of people say, hey, this is a cool first appearance. I'm like, oh, I'll pick it up. It's not an expensive book. Actually, the interesting thing was I saw this book in sort of a higher grade, and it sold for a few $100. I was like, what? So I looked it up on iComic Shop, and I found it for like $3 or something like that. It was very inexpensive. So yeah, I thought it was a cool book though. So it's Superboy 216. I'll have to look it up. I'll put it in the comment. I'll put it in the description what the key significance is of this book. So look in the description. I will tell you what the key is. Yeah, but definitely a cool book. I'm not I'm not sure why I don't remember the name. Now this next one is just two silly ones. We got The Son of Ambush Bug. My friend Matt from Matt Likes Comics mentioned this book. I was like, okay, I'll check it out. So he was talking about this book. He said it was very silly. So this is The Son of Ambush Bug. And then the other book that he mentioned was Supergirl 16. And this is another silly ambush bug book. And these rabbit holes that we go down. So yes, so Supergirl 16, another ambush book one that he said was cool. So I figured, hey, I'll buy them, check them out. Maybe they are. Maybe they'll be fun little reads. These were like dollar bin level, not expensive books. Ambush Bug is not known for being like a major character, but he is one of those quirky characters. So I figured I'd check him out. So that's it. That's part 3. Stay tuned for part 4. Lots of cool comics still coming. Hope you enjoyed the Betty Boops. I really like Betty Boop. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.